Riverside Healthcare puts the health and wellness information you need well within reach.
Hello, listeners, and thanks for tuning into Well Within Reach podcast brought to you by Riverside Healthcare. I'm your host, Liz Healy, and joining me today is Tim Weston, who is Riverside's Manager of Employment and Workforce Planning. Thanks for joining us today, Tim.
Thanks, Liz.
So we're here to kind of talk about something that you obviously are very familiar with, workforce planning as part of your title, and that's landing a job at Riverside. But before we get into that, can we talk a little bit about how you landed here at Riverside?
Yeah, so I've been with Riverside a little over 4 years now. I have over 10 years of HR experience within the healthcare industry. Most of that was in behavioral health before I started with Riverside.
Okay, so what makes Riverside different than other places that you've worked?
I really think it's the community. The people that you work with are the same people that you do life with, the people you see at the grocery store, see at your kids' baseball games and their dance recitals.
Okay, so I think that sense of community is something that I've definitely felt as well. It's one of the things that makes me want to stay at Riverside and continue my career. Is there something that we haven't mentioned that keeps you at Riverside?
I really think that it has to do with the commitment to excellence and patient outcomes here. You know, everything focuses back on our patients here. We're always innovating when it comes to the best and most efficient ways to care for our patients. And really that just trickles down to the way that everyone does their jobs, including our talent acquisition team.
Okay, so your team of recruiters, you obviously see a lot of resumes every day when you're going through and all of the various jobs and levels of positions that we have open here at Riverside. Are there some things that stand out to you right away on a resume?
Yeah, I really think the first thing I notice is just how easy it is to digest all the information there. Sometimes less is more as it relates to just formatting and content on a resume. It's pretty easy to go overboard with a little bit too much information or just too much in terms of different just templates for a resume, focusing more on maybe what it looks like versus what's actually there.
Oh, I could definitely see that. I know when I graduated college, I had 20 different versions of my resume. So
Right.
I definitely feel that. Are there specific things that you look for on a resume, like the very first thing you look for?
Really, I think the main thing is their demonstrated ability just to get the job done, whatever that previous job was. So it's pretty easy to identify someone who just copied their job description, maybe from their last job, and pasted it onto the resume. So I'd much rather see the types of projects that were completed, measurable successes, and just proven people skills as well.
Okay, so that might be considered a common mistake that people make is copying and pasting. Are there any other common mistakes that you see?
Oh, a typo spell check. It's definitely your friend. Always have another person put a set of eyes onto your resume before you start sending it out. We talked a little bit about maybe some templates that folks are using for resumes. Those are great. I'm a big fan of those. It's pretty easy to kind of plug and play, so to speak, if you don't know where to start, if it's your first resume. But any unfilled or incomplete templates, obviously that's a little bit of a red flag just on your attention to detail, or even, if you're writing a cover letter or an objective at the top of your resume, having the wrong company listed is also one of those examples too.
Yeah, I could definitely see that something that throws a red flag right away. If you're not paying attention, how detail-oriented are you in your work?
Exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So at job fairs, or you might run into a recruiter just out in public, they could do kind of an on-the-spot interview. Are there some tips that you have for us that allow us to make the most of that short amount of time that we have? Right.
In particular with those on-the-spot interviews, having that updated resume that really captures all of your work experience, that's tip number one for sure. But also, I know what we look for is really that your personality shines through. So in light of COVID, you can't necessarily give that firm handshake that I know everyone focuses on when it comes to just good interviewing etiquette, but something like eye contact and just your energy are great ways to put your best foot forward.
Okay. If there's a question that you might not have the answer to in one of those on-the-spot interviews, what's a good way to kind of answer that?
Yeah, I think being honest, I'd rather have someone tell me that they don't know the answer to a question versus try to make something up on the spot that's pretty easily identifiable as just them maybe not knowing the correct answer to a question. And a lot of the questions that we are asking during an interview aren't necessarily there's a correct answer and an incorrect answer. Again, we're looking for specific examples, you just being able to recall a certain example from your work as to how you worked through a certain situation.
Okay, so some something that I know that could deter someone from working in healthcare, especially after COVID and all the restrictions and regulations that are put on the healthcare industry now, just to keep patients safe, to keep our staff safe. If I don't have healthcare experience, should I still apply for a healthcare role?
Yeah, absolutely. Many, if not most, of our entry-level positions, they don't require any sort of healthcare background. So if you have a good work ethic, customer service experience, and a positive attitude, we can teach you just about anything.
Okay, so if someone was concerned about coming to work in the hospital post-COVID, obviously COVID's still going to be around for a little while, what is something reassuring that you would say to them to encourage that it's a safe environment?
Oh, that's a great question. I'd probably just say, hey, there's no better place to work than a hospital right now. Again, it is our job literally to make people as safe as possible while they're there as a patient, and same goes for our employees as well.
Okay, so what is the best piece of advice you could give someone who's looking for a job here at Riverside?
Well, I think it probably just boils down to the fact that Riverside loves hiring people who care about people. So just tell us why you are passionate about caring for others.
So someone's going to take your advice. They're passionate about caring for others. How would someone go about applying to a job at Riverside or seeing our job postings?
Yeah. So all of our jobs are listed online on our website, riversidehealthcare.org. And there's a tab right there in the upper right-hand corner called Careers. So all the jobs are listed there, but we also have them cross-posted to a number of different job boards like your Indeed, LinkedIn, Career Builder, and so on.
Okay. Is there anything else? I feel like you've given us a lot of really good tips and information here. Is there anything else that you would like to add today?
So I would just say keep an eye out on our job board. If you are looking for a specific job and don't see it posted, check back, because we always do have new openings that are posted there on a daily basis. And then just keep an eye out as well for any other career fairs or career events that we have coming up in the near future.
Okay, perfect. And thanks for joining us today, Tim. And thank you for tuning in to the Well Within Reach podcast with Tim Weston, who is Riverside's Manager of Employment and Workforce Planning, and your host, Liz Healy. To learn more about careers at Riverside, visit riversidehealthcare.org/careers.